This is Pastor Castle with North Houston Church. Wanted to let you know how great it is to have you being a part of this message today. Would you subscribe to our channel here? Share it with other people. You will be blessed and you will help bless somebody else. Let's go to the message.
If you have Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, 8, and 9, say I have it. All right, I hear you on one side. I want to make sure everybody gets it on the other side, whether you have hard copy Bible or your smartphone or whatever type of device. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, 8, and 9. This is how it reads. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. For he who sows to his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption. But he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life. One more. And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Everybody say, don't lose heart. For the next few moments, I want to deal with this subject to help you remember. Everybody say the power of the principle. Say it with a little bit more authority. Say the power of the principle. You can have your seats in the presence of the Lord. The power of the principle. I want to deal with today. I want to do a little more teaching than preaching. I may get into preaching mode, but I want to deal with this principle of sowing and reaping, because this is a principle that's based through the Word of God from the time of beginning. The time of beginning. I'll tell you now the purpose of this, and I won't be able to get to it on a Sunday morning. This will be one later on for Bible study, but the purpose of this is actually a faith-building principle. A faith-building principle. Gentleman, preacher John Jenkins spoke of 3 areas of that he saw as a consideration of this particular area, and even others. He talks about the principle, he talks about the program or the practice, and he talks about the promise. You can find all of those when you look at Galatians chapter 6, verses 7, 8, and 9. And I am not ignorant for these Bible scholars of the fact of what Paul is talking about in particular in this text. However, this particular principle deals with every part of life. Pastor, why are you saying that? Because you and I are preparing, if you are not get ready, to go into a brand new year. Nobody has been in 2026 but God. And he is his has been, because he's Alpha and he's been there. Nobody has been there, so I pray that you and I are preparing to go into 2026, this last month of the year. And I believe these principles, everybody say the power of the principle. Say it like you mean it with authority. Say the power of the principle. I'm going to give it to you in several ways so that you will be able to handle what I am saying today, because it is actually a principle that was given in beginning. If you were to look in Genesis chapter 1, this principle began when God said there will be seed of every tree and every fruit of the ground. He even told man that'll be what you eat from. He started the principle in that. He actually told man to be fruitful and the principle started in Genesis chapter 1. It is a principle that God started, and nothing or no one can or has ever been able to stop that. Some would not only call it a principle, they would call it a law. When God put it in place, nothing or no one can stop it but God. It is that principle. But unfortunately, mankind has actually overlooked it. Preacher, what do you mean? Because some people actually think you can do something today and it won't get back with you tomorrow. You think you can get away with it. I know what you're saying, preacher. For these preachers, I need to make it positive. All I'm simply saying is don't overlook what you've done when it comes back up again. But I don't think Paul here in Galatians chapter 6, I don't think he was actually trying to be bad or warn us evilly. I think it is a good warning. As a matter of fact, when I read Galatians chapter 6, verses 7 to 9, I like it because it is a faith building principle. Everybody say faith building. When I read Galatians, I think Paul is trying to say God will keep his word. What he said in Genesis, past revelations, God's word is going to stand. That's what I get. Now with warnings, you know, there are good warnings and some challenging. When I'm driving down the road, I see warning signs saying that there's construction. They're not telling me something bad is about to happen. They're trying to say, prepare yourself. I'm driving through the neighborhood, Mother Haggard. I'm driving through the neighborhood, and I noticed there was a little green type of, I guess a stand it was a green stand of a boy or a man with an orange flag out there. And what I knew that meant was look out for kids. That's a good warning. You don't want to be driving reckless. Y'all ever seen somebody come through your neighborhood driving through too fast? And if you had something to throw, if you could have warned them ahead of time, you would have done it, because all of our kids are precious. That's a good warning. Be careful, because kids can dart out at any time. Warnings. And that's really what I saw in Galatians chapter 6 verses 7 through 9. I saw a good warning. This is what he says, and there are several things that I pulled out of there, because in particular this principle, this law of sowing and reaping, it applies to every area of your life. Some of the stuff that you are reaping some of the stuff that you are going through right now is either from one of the three areas that you've sown. Pastor, what does those areas? I'm glad you asked. The first one is how you think. I hate this job in your mind. And you go to work and all hell break loose. You sowed it by your thoughts. All right, the other one is what you say. I hate you. You ain't, and all you getting back is all you asking for. The third one is what you do. All right, Pastor, why are you saying that? Because that principle, that law was from the beginning of time. He said, and even Paul brings it out, whatever you sow, you're going to reap it. You can sow it in your mind and it will continue to grow. You see problems all the time because you brought it up. Pastor, does that mean that stuff don't happen? No, but I don't sow it. The devil is a lie. I may not have what I want in the bank, but I'm not sowing that I'm broke in my mind. I'm saying to the one that is able to give me everything I need. As a matter of fact, he told those in Corinthians, he said he's able to do an abundance in your life. I sow that in my mind because I don't want anything bad. Paul brings out several things here. He says, in essence, through this, whatever. Everybody say whatever. That's the sowing, because I get it. He actually starts out by saying that we need to love everybody, and you need to be generous even to those that minister. But when he goes through that, by the time we get to verse 7, he says to you and I through the word, do not be deceived. Let me just pause right now, because a lot of people have been deceived, fooled, misled, gone astray. This simply means whatever somebody did, said, or whatever, don't you? All right, I see what you're saying. Preacher, you said this started from the beginning of time. Come here, Genesis chapter 3. Come here, Adam and Eve. Eve declares, it was the devil that deceived me. And so it started way back with deception. So you ought to know if something is being deceiving, the root of that is actually evil. Oh, don't think the women are the only one, lest you think and point fingers at the ladies. Because there are a whole lot of brothers, even in this room, that have been deceived. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. If I could go down in your lane, she looked a certain way, but you were deceived to think that's how she looked all the time. Sisters, you ain't the only one. These brothers, we know what to say and how to look and all of that. And he said the right words. Y'all know how we put on masks when we first meet people and go out on dates. He ain't never ate that much until you got him. You was deceived. That rascal is glut. All right, all I'm simply saying is anytime you get deceived, that's actually a lie with a mask. And Paul says, do not be deceived. He's simply saying you need to see, you need to think, you need to hear, you need to act, you need to speak clearly so that you won't go astray. Do not, everybody say, don't be deceived. That's not a bad thing, because if anybody ever lied to you and you took it for the truth and later on found out they lied, that didn't feel good. Paul says, don't be deceived. You don't have to be caught up in that. Don't be deceived, but. He's not talking about what other folk did. He's saying to you and I should not be deceived. He said, for God is not mocked. If I could rush through this for these theologians, these preacher folk, he's simply saying you don't ever have to worry about being able to say God didn't do what he said he was going to do. My mother coming up, y'all may not have experienced this because of this new age, but if my mother said, I'm going to whoop you, don't be deceived. She was not mocked. I thought because of her age, she forgot. I thought because of her chores, she forgot. I thought because of the lateness of the hour and we are full and we are asleep, that she forgot. Don't be deceived. That's really what Paul is saying. He's saying you may think that it's over, but the fact is nobody will be able to come back and say God didn't do what he said he was going to do. So Paul says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Here we are. For whatever. Everybody say whatever. Say it like you mean to say whatever. That encompasses any and everything. Somebody is thinking only of the agriculture mindset, but he says, I get it. You're thinking of a seed principle, but whatever. Everybody say whatever. I'm going to go down a quick list, Sister Bonner. Whatever. Hatred. Plant it if you want to. Backstabbing. Plant it if you, front stabbing. Plant it if you, he says, don't be deceived. Whatever. Well, let's turn the coin. Love, understanding, compassion, stuff that you want. He says, whatever. Everybody say whatever. That's one of the reasons why I'm driving. Real simple example. I'm driving and I see somebody trying to come over and I'm in a hurry, and for whatever reason, I say to myself, you should have came in the line way back there like I did. But you up here, but I often will remember whatever, because I've been in positions where I couldn't get in back there because of the way folk act and think. And so I kept going because I didn't want to hold folk. I'm saying whatever. And so when they come up there, I'm not in that big a rush. I'm saying, come on. Because I'm planning, and when I get in that situation, I want somebody to do the same for me. Come on. Whatever. Everybody say whatever. Some people lack compassion. I'm going to get to this text in a minute. Boy, where did my time go? Is this right? All right. Everybody shout whatever. Paul says, whatever. So if you're thinking, I need to be in a financial position that is bettering in my life, what are you planting? But let me see if I can put it some different way. Planting is of the seed of whatever you want to get back. If you want to make money, you need to plant money. I know y'all don't want me to talk about money, and that ain't what I'm going to deal with today anyway, but I'm simply saying don't expect the pie out of the sky. That's where people misunderstand and confuse even Malachi 3. Because he says, I'll open up the windows of heaven. That's an agriculture mindset. You'd have to go back to, all right, I'm not on that anyway. But I'm simply saying, when Paul says whatever, then you need to think about what am I putting out there? What am I planting? Because whatever a man sows, that he will also. Pastor, why am I going through this? Why am I always losing this? And why is this always going wrong? All you got to do is check out your planting season. Many times people overlook that season. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You overlook what you've been saying. You overlook what you've been doing. You overlook how you've been thinking. You overlook how you've been acting. And you wasn't even thinking about it, but you was planting the seed. Why am I getting all this hell in my house? Why she acting crazy? Why he acting? It's hard to fight with somebody that says, you know what, you so lovely. I was mad at you, but you see, you gotta plant it right now. No, I look at you cross-eyed. Well, there's something wrong with your eyes, then. That's what's wrong with you. You look just like. Whatever a man sows. And ironically, I don't have time. Let me move past this because the seed is designed to multiply. So you're going to get back more than you put in. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. She always getting on my nerve. You're going to get back more than you put in. He always talking bad. You're going to get back more than you put. All right, I'm going to turn the corner here because a lot of people don't like it. If you don't like what a person is doing, start saying positively what you want from them. Don't start saying you always do what you've been doing because you're still planting bad seeds. And if you don't want rotten fruit, don't plant rotten. All right. That sounds like the pastor's fussing. I'm not. I'm just expressing the principle. Everybody say with me the power of the principle. All right. And so he says that seed, the seed that's there, it was created by God to not only reproduce, but to multiply the seed. So it does not matter how little the seed is. You can say it under your breath, real quiet. You can think it and go on. It don't matter how little it is. It's going to multiply. You're going to get more than you put in there. I hate this job. All right, ain't no problem. It's going to multiply. Every day is going to be bad. I remind some of the people that I work with, the only reason you having a good day is because I showed up. And I want that to multiply. I don't want to. That's why on my way to work, I'm up every morning. This is a blessing, folks. Some folk complain about working. I'm up every morning at 3:20. So my day starts there. Y'all don't know where y'all at 3:20. I'm there at 3:20, and on my way, I'm listening, I'm saying, I'm imagining that this day is going to be a blessed day because I showed up. That's what I want. Well, Pastor does not mean, here we go. This is going to bless somebody right here. Pastor, but it doesn't mean, some of my days go bad. You didn't plant the weeds. That don't mean weeds ain't going to come up. No, I didn't plant this. Why am I getting this? Because there's an adversary that will always try to discourage you, try to kill what you did plant. You don't get discouraged on weeds. You cut them bad boys out. All right, I'm sorry. So the seed is there to to give you what you need and what you want to multiply by this principle. But I can't stay on the seeds because of my time. I have to then go to not only the sowing. Everybody say the sowing. I know what the seed is. It is actually to give me what I have planted and multiply. But you got to plant it. That's why some people, all right. Some people think you're not planting it just because you thought it, but you're planting it in your mind. All right. Have anybody ever, let's see, have you ever said, I like this kind of car and I'm interested, and it looks like this car is showing up everywhere you go? I started counting them. 1, 2, 3. Wow. You planted it there. Now it's starting to multiply. You see it there. Some folks, y'all overlook it. Y'all overlook. I've been, all right, there's sometimes you still get weeds. I'm going to say that because I've been praying for the Houston Texans, but it's been a while. It's been a while. I've been planting. I'll get to it. Everybody say plant the seed. But you got to sow it before you get it. Some people are holding, well, let's go financial. You holding on to it, and God is saying, sow it into my kingdom, and you're holding because you think you're going to somehow make that grow. You don't grow from holding on to stuff. You grow, it grows from you. Somebody with me already. That's how it grows. Don't worry, I'm not going to receive an offering after this. Minister Carrington already got your money, and so we're all right. Y'all don't want the preacher to say it like that? You have given unto the Lord, and I believe you've sown into good ground. That's how we want the preacher to say. All right. Oh, boy, I mess up right there. You know, Sunday morning when we handle business. Everybody say sow it. Say it like you mean to say sow it. And so on your job, if you sowing, I hate her, he always on my nerve, that's what you're going to get when they show up. That same hatred is going to be given back to you. Sisters, y'all understand this because God created you to be the sowing of ground. When the seed is given to the womb of the woman, she multiplies it, she takes it, she makes it grow, and she gives that thing back to you. And for 18 years, it's costing you what you sowed. All right. And somebody say, way past 18, Pastor. He talks about the seed. He says, whatever a man sows, that shall he also reaps. This is where I have to get here. Let me just stay here real quick because when you're talking about sowing, this involves time. Because too many people want to reap quick, overnight, just like that. It didn't start like that. So I've been dealing with this same problem for 20 years, and you've been saying the same stuff, you've been speaking the same, you've been thinking, you've been acting. It's going to take some time for that seed to begin to grow that you want out of it. So this is going to take, everybody say it's going to take time. Bishop Charles Edward Blake said it this way in one of his books. He says, even though plans seem to be unfolding slowly, God is always on time. How long is it going to take before they change? How long is it going to take before they change? Well, let God deal with that. That's his business. My business is to plant a good seed and to do what it takes to make sure weeds don't get it. Some people plant good seeds, but also plant bad weeds. I want him to love me, but I'm going to treat him like a dog. Was that too? I want her to do this, but I'm going to talk negative about it all. You're planting, I want good seed, but if you going to also plant bad weeds, don't get upset when the weeds outgrow and overtake the seed. All right, all right, my time is, everybody say, go on, preacher. All right. So Paul says it this way. He says, for he who sows to the flesh will also reap corruption. Anything that you are putting in that's all about you and about this flesh, it is going to bring up corruption. That's why you got to do it from a spiritual standpoint. You know you were created spirit first. So if I do it God's way from a spiritual standpoint, then I'll reap the benefit in a natural standpoint. So he says it there in verse 8. So if you sow to his flesh, he will reap corruption. But if he sows of the spirit, he will reap for everlasting life. I don't have time to go through all of that, but it's simply saying if you went to Galatians chapter 5, he would say the works of the flesh. You would be able to see that. And then he says the fruit of the spirit. He's simply saying, which one do you want to keep getting? Because based on what you keep sowing and what you keep doing is going to be what you keep getting. Y'all said it a different way. If I were of another religion, they would say karma. Y'all, that's another religion. Or in the streets, we used to say it this way. Whatever goes around, that ain't nothing new. He said, whatever you sow, that you're going to also, I told a gentleman once, Brother Gabe, he said to me, he was saying some words that was negative, and he called me out my name, and I said, okay, I'm not going to be too many more of them, because I'm going to take what you just said, and I'm going to multiply it, and I'm going to give it back. All right. Everybody say the power of the principle. The power of the principle, get this, is because this ultimately says God will not be mocked. If he said how long, that's God's business. You just take the seed that you want to get and sow it where you want to get it from, and then say, God, the rest is on you. What I'm going to begin to do is I'm going to make sure weeds don't mess it up. I'm going to clean it, I'm going to water it, I'm going to nourish it, and I'm going to let you do the rest. Everybody say the seed. All right, this is the last time, the last point that I have. Then it comes a reaping time. That's the season when you reap benefit. Let me just tell you this in passing. You should not, when you reap from what you have sown, if it is what you wanted, don't eat all the rest of the seed. Because that ain't the last time you gonna want that. I got the watermelon, but I don't eat the seed and the watermelon. I plant the seed from the watermelon for next time, and I enjoy some of it for myself. Come here, because I'm messing up. Some of y'all, some of us, you love on them. You appreciate them. You show the love right there, and then you don't plant nothing else thinking that little bit that you reaped is going to last you forever. No, that's not how it works. Every fruit that has seed in it, you don't eat up the seed. You plant the seed again so you can get more later. What Paul is ultimately saying is, he says, you got to understand what you're doing, because this is a principle that God put in place, and this is how powerful it is. All right, this is the last part, and then I'll be through. Everybody say, go on, hurry up, preacher. All right, I'm going to hurry up. Some people actually believe that because I go to church and because I get involved in church, that is going to negate some of the bad seeds that you planted, and it's going to erase it. No, you can go to church, and only because of God's grace, you don't reap some of the stuff you sown. And there is somebody in here right now, if it wasn't for God's grace, if you look back, you know God has the right. That's why it's important to do it according to his principle, because there are things that God will take out of. He says, because of my grace, I'm not going to allow them to reap all of that they sowed then. I'm going to show, but it doesn't mean that's going to be for everything. There's some things God is going to say, yeah, you planted it, and you may not reap the bad, but there are some consequences. This is the good part about it, and then I'll be through in my last 11 minutes, and I'll cut that short. This is the good part about it, because I believe God tells Paul to say it for our benefit. Everybody say my benefit. Say it like you mean to say my benefit. He says, all I want you to remember, because this is a faith-building principle, if I said it, it's going to happen. Because of the power of this principle, whatever you sow, that you will reap. So now going into 2026, I'm checking my seeds out. What am I preparing for in this next year? What is it that I want to get on my job, in my home, in my finances, in my physical? I'm checking out my seed. I'm saying, God, what is it that I need to change now so that I can reap the benefit of it later? I don't want to get the consequences. I want the benefits. Rewind. I don't want the consequences. I want the benefits. So I'm taking out hatred. I'm taking out crazy. I'm taking out backbiting. I'm taking out lying, because I know I won't be deceived. Whatever I plant, I'm going to reap that. So I'm telling 2026, you get ready for a good harvest. I'm planting love, even in the folk that act unlovable. I'm planting love. And how God deals with them while it's in the ground is not my business. What my business is, the power of the principle. I'm planting love. I'm planting compassion. I'm planting understanding. Look at somebody and say, there's power in the principle. Some people miss it, and then I'll end with this. I got to just stop these notes for another time. So right now, I believe God is telling somebody, if you've been getting the same thing, why is this happening? Why is it? He's saying there's power in the principle. Go back to the principle and say, God, if I want better, I'm going to start planting better. If I want good, I'm going to start planting. Here's one. If I want right or righteousness, I'm going to start planting. This Sunday morning, God wanted to remind you there's power in the principle. Whatever a man sows, that will he also reap. I'm stopping. I refuse to keep sowing complaining. But it's real. That's right. But real don't pass up the principle. But it hurts. It's not fair. That don't pass up the principle. Because God put it in place. This Sunday morning, God wanted me to tell somebody in here, there's power in my principle. And he said, be not deceived. Nobody will be able to say it didn't happen. You may have overlooked it, but it still happened. And so I want to encourage you. I want to build your faith. Plant some good seed.
Before we go, I want to give you an opportunity, one, to give your heart to God. It is vital, it's important, and I believe this word has taught you and has reached your heart. Simply say this prayer. Father, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe he died and rose again for my salvation. And according to the scripture, when you say it in sincerity and believe it, you are saved. But then I want to encourage you to become a member of North Houston Church so that you can be encouraged, instructed, lifted, and there will be fellowship. You can do it in person or online. You belong here.